What's up, everybody? Once again, it is I, James, coming to you from the Nerdy Mewzings podcast studio. Today, we are recording on Halloween. The spooktacular Jim Mahfood is here. We are celebrating the successful full funding of the Kickstarter Arachnid Enforcer. Jim, How you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm great. I'm in a very good mood. It's
I caught you just at the right time.
It's over, thank God. No, yeah, man. It huge relief and huge thanks to everyone, including yourself, for who
My
supported
pleasure, man. Yeah.
the campaign. I've got like a real nice thing going with this Defective Comics label that I've created, where I want to keep doing one of these every year, and in October specifically, because they're all kind of somewhat spook related, and I get to go to New York Comic Con and promote the Kickstarter while it's happening in New York. That always helps. But yeah, man, I've struck like a really good formula, I think, with these weird one-shot 48-page one and done parody comics, and it's just super fun to write and draw my own stuff. That's sort of all I want to do. And the fact that people are on board for it is hugely gratifying for me.
Definitely, yeah. And, the listeners may not know, but kickstarting is very hard. It's not something that just happens. Like, it's a lot of work. And I think even somebody like yourself would attest that even though you've done successful Kickstarters in the past, like every time it's kind of like, okay, are we gonna hit our marks? Is everything gonna go smoothly? Like, what's that been like for you? Has it gotten easier with each one, or is there still a little trepidation there, wondering if it's gonna, get funded as quickly, or if you're gonna meet the stretch goals that you would like to hit and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, It is a lot to consider. I mean, this is really only my second comic book Kickstarter.
Okay.
My buddy Roston Meyer and I made a pop-up book, and we did a Kickstarter for that in 2020. That went well. It went really successful. Ross makes custom pop-up books and does those through Kickstarter as a living. So he has helped manage and run the 3 Kickstarters that I've done. But last year with Savage Street Vigilante, this Kickstarter, technically my first comic book Kickstarter, man. And it's fully creator owned. I'm doing these, like I said, as just one and done comic books. So I really had no idea what to expect. And Street Vigilante went well enough that I thought, I want to keep doing these. I think there's an audience for this. And then with Arachnid, I was so relieved because on day one, launch day, I did basically double what I did on launch day of Street Vigilante.
Oh,
so I was like,
man.
okay, I feel like I have something going here, some momentum. But you really do. I have to work with Ross because he knows the ins and outs of all the secrets of building the campaign, how to present your page, how to deal with Kickstarter. It was much easier doing the second one because since we're making sort of the same product, when we were setting up the page, we're basically cutting and pasting a lot from last year onto this year's page and just replacing the word Savage Street Vigilante with Arachnid Enforcer. Because it's still a 48-page book.
Yeah.
We have variant covers. We have original art. So if you want to kickstart and you kind of have the idea of making kind of a consistent product, I think that's advantageous to you as a creator.
Yeah, it's part of that formula. It sounds like you found that formula that works. So why deviate from it a whole lot, Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's such a niche thing. Like, I love, because it's obvious what has inspired these different projects, like which characters and things. Like you said, it's parody. And so take me back with Savage Street Vigilante. How long had you been kind of thinking about doing something like that?
Yeah, for a long time, I always wanted to do like a Cape Crusader parody book. And I finally pulled the trigger and started working on this last year. And I was just going to self-publish it and release it at New York Comic Con last year as just like a 22-page comic book. And then I wound up showing it around to friends of mine. And I was in Pittsburgh and I showed it to Jim Rugg and Tom Scioli. And those guys were like, man, this is perfect for Kickstarter. Like, you should do this as a Kickstarter comic. And I was like, I don't know if I want the spotlight on it. I don't know if I want to get in trouble. Like, and then it just so happened that Kickstarter, like a bunch of people started doing parody comics through Kickstarter. And my buddies in Long Beach, California, Long Beach Ink and Drink crew, they did a book called Sewer Boys, where they recreated the entire first issue of the original Mirage Turtles.
Nice.
They just remixed it, redid the whole first issue. And I'm like, if these guys are getting away with this, like I could do my weird not Cape Crusader book. And and now, man, there seems to be this accepted genre of parody comics that are happening in the indie comic book scene, not just in America, but I feel like all over the world. And everyone seems to be facilitating it through Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I mostly just know the Kickstarter world, and those are the books that I support from friends of mine. Mm-hmm. So, and Kickstarter has been very receptive and supportive of these two projects I've done. You know, they've given me like the badge of a project we love. In the first couple days, it seems like I was on the homepage for several days.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
If you go to Kickstarter.com and just hit comics, I was on that front page, man, for like the first week or so of my campaign. So that brings so many eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it makes sense to me because I started in the 90s just making my own zines and mini comics at like Kinko's.
Right.
And Kickstarter is almost like the internet version of that, where it's like, you do everything, you do all the work. This is all your responsibility. You build the page, you do everything. And instead of having them brick and mortar record store or coffee shop or comic book store have your self-published book on it, Kickstarter is now the virtual space where that product exists. Yeah. And you're able to promote and advertise, and your fans and your people go there to pick up what you're offering.
Yeah, so it really is. It is like the digital Kinkos of today. I remember going out to Kinko's because, you know, we didn't all have a scanner or a printer that could do large format, and we needed to scan our stuff and, you know, or blow up a thumbnail that you wanted to transfer to 11 by 17 or whatever it may be. Like, that was a fun time.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I still do that sometimes with covers that I'm working on, where I will, and I have a big enough scanner and a big enough printer, but there's something about the grassroots part of like, I just put in my headphones and have music on, and I'll go to Kinko's and I'll have my 11 by 17 Bristol board, and I'll just blow up the thumbnail or parts of the thumbnail and just put it on the Bristol and be like, okay, what do I really want to do with this cover here? There's something, but that's my generation of like, we just did that anyway. The photocopy machine was like a tool for us. And I sometimes still like having that be a piece of my art, even though it's sort of irreverent. Like, you don't really need it, but
are you still somebody that appreciates the tactile nature of traditionally drawing?
Oh yeah. That's still my main jam, is like ink on paper. And, you know, I'll clean things up in Photoshop and color stuff in Procreate, but the black and white art is still completely generated on paper. Just because I've drawn on Procreate, I've drawn digitally, it's all good, but the desired effect I get is most effective with ink and the tools I'm using on that Bristol board, man. Like there's just something about it. It's just what I've known for so long that
Yeah. Well,
works for
take me
me.
back, take me back long, long ago to when it sounds to me like you've pretty much always been creative and wanting to do something in the comics medium. Like, where did all that start for you? Like, how young were you when you started getting into comics and started creating your own little fanzines and types of things?
Yeah, I got into it really young because I discovered comics at the local grocery store where I
Yeah.
would go with my mom every Friday. Like they had a magazine rack with Mad Magazine and Marvel and DC comics. So I started picking up Spider-Man and Batman comics and G.I. Joe in the like mid 80s. Like I've got books that I started getting in like 83, 84, 85. So I quickly started making my own like loose leaf versions of comics like Spider-Man and
Yep.
that kind of thing and stapling them together. And eventually this is where the fascination with photocopying comes in. My dad eventually started taking my originals to his office and photocopying them so
Oh, there
that
you go.
I had like 3 or 4 sets that I could staple and give out to my homies in the neighborhood that I would ride dirt bikes with and stuff. So this idea, man, very, very young of being like, I can make a thing and reproduce it and then hand it to someone.
Yeah.
That's a crazy idea. And I was, like bitten by that bug very early, probably like
Way
10
back,
or 11.
yeah.
And so I got really, really serious about it when I was in high school. And I got lucky because I grew up in St. Louis and there was a local independent publisher in St. Louis called Artline Studios. And it was this dude, Lorenzo, who was from New York, and this guy, Ed, who was from Illinois. They got together and started self-publishing black and white indie comics. And I met them when I was about 15, and they kind of hired me as their like understudy apprentice. So I was inking backgrounds on pages
sweet.
and doing erasing work. And
Yeah.
but it was all grunt work. But really what it was is since it was pre-internet, these 2 guys were 10 years older than me, and they basically showed me the ropes of how comic books were made.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is the paper you use, this is the ink tools, this is Zipatone, this is a T-square.
Here's
This
how
is,
big the pages actually are.
Yeah,
The stuff
yeah.
that we're like, whoa, what? They draw
Yeah.
them big.
Yeah. I think that was probably the first time I discovered that everything was drawn oversized.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that really like got my engines firing on how do I make my mark in all this. And then I left St. Louis when I was 18 and went to art school in Kansas City. And again, I met like the right people in art school, the comics guys, and started
Yes.
making indie comics, self-publishing my own stuff. That's when my creator-owned Grrl Scouts book, I started doing that as a self-published thing in like 1995, 30 years ago. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
And then that stuff just kind of started leading to me getting actual like paying work to the point where senior year of college, I got hired by Marvel to write and draw this X-Men one-shot, this Generation X Underground special.
Yeah.
And that's what opened the door for me for everything, dude. Because after that, I met Kevin Smith and got the Clerks comic book gig.
Yep.
And then that was like, okay, I'm now fully making a living as a freelance illustrator. No more day job. This is my life now. Like, let's just go for it and see what happens.
That's amazing. Like, was there ever a doubt in your mind that that was the direction you wanted to go? Like, it sounds like you were on the art path. Like, obviously you probably had some, like you said, a day job to make it ends to a means, but like comics was the direction you were going in from a pretty early point from art school on, right? Like you knew, like, and you're running into all these different people, the right people at the right time. And then it just kind of sounds like it kind of just snowballed pretty quick for you.
Yeah, it's funny because when you're younger, time moves way slower.
Yes.
So when I was with the Artline Studios guys when I was 15, we were going to conventions and still waiting in line for Marvel and DC editors and showing them what we were making. So I waited in lines from the time I was 15 to the time I was about 21 when I got the Marvel gig. So I did go through about like 6 years of solid rejection from editors. And so that was the only moment of doubt where I was like, man, maybe I don't know if this is my path, but I feel like, no, it is. I'm going to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
And what made it work, man, was me just kind of realizing like, I don't think I'm going to be working as a monthly guy for Marvel or DC. Let me just keep going down this self-publishing route. And ironically, those self-published books got the attention of a young editor at Marvel that was like, why don't we just do an indie, like underground zine comic for the Gen X X-Men kids? Like that's a perfect
combo.
fit.
Yeah.
So it's just, I did get very lucky. It's also like right place, right time. I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 97.
Oh man, the early days.
Right place, right time. The Oni Press was there, and they just so happened to be looking for the artist for the Clerks comic book. So Kevin Smith was there at the show. I met Kevin. They had the cover illustration done by Gilbert Hernandez that was like hanging in their booth. And I was talking to Bob Schreck, the co-founder of the company and the main editor-in-chief. And I was like, oh man, Gilbert Hernandez, like that's awesome. He's like, yeah, we don't have the interior artist though yet. He's like looking through my samples. He's like, maybe it's you. Maybe we need to talk. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Wow. So I met Kevin, we all started talking. And then it wasn't until I got home after the convention that Bob started calling me and was like, okay, why don't you start making some sketches for us? Like start drawing the characters. Let me get Kevin excited. I think you're the guy for the gig. I think we want like an unknown indie guy.
Yeah.
And then again, dude, like luck, and Kevin was cool enough to sign off on me doing it. And when that book came out, that was like, now I have a career. Like everyone sort of knew my name, and I was doing signings with Kevin at conventions, and there was like lines wrapped around the convention center. And I'm just this 22-year-old kid who's just part of the Kevin Smith mayhem because Chasing Amy had just come out, and it was a big success, and it put him back in the spotlight. So it was just a great time, man. A lot of good memories.
So take me from there. Where did you go after working on the Clerks book? Because I know how this arc goes, because now we're back more into the indie stuff nowadays with your creator-owned stuff and the Kickstarters and everything. But from Clerks, where did you end up going from there? What was your next big project that you remember working on?
Yeah, with comics, I stayed with Oni Press and started doing Grrl Scouts and creator-owned books with Oni. And then the other crazy thing, man, was at this time I started to get more and more freelance illustration work in the like music industry. I started getting attention from bands to do like poster art, flyers, album covers. I was living in Arizona at the time, and every Thursday night I was also doing live painting, live art on stage at one of the #1 underground hip hop nights in Arizona history. So DJ Z Trip and DJ Emil and Radar. So record producers from LA would go to Arizona, and they would go to the Thursday night event.
Like
and they scouting and
Yeah.
trying to talk to Z Trip, because Z Trip became this super huge DJ.
Yeah.
And they would also hit me up and be like, hey, do you have a business card? Like, we're looking for art. And then eventually I started doing a little freelance animation work, character design for shows over at Cartoon Network, some things that didn't even get picked up, but that very simple style I was doing on Clerks, the very kind of graphic graffiti style, animation and other people started picking up on that style and realizing like, hey, this would actually work for like animation, and this would work for this or that. So, yeah, man, it was cool because there was no way to predict any of this. I would just get phone calls and emails from people, and then this was all like 98, 99, and then hitting 2000, suddenly Brian Bendis is calling me, and I'm doing like Ultimate Marvel Team Up issue with him at Marvel. So now I'm back at Marvel, and I'm doing a Spidey issue with Brian, and he's one of their golden boys at the time because he's brought them the success of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So Ultimate Marvel Team Up was sort of this book that Marvel gave Brian where they're like, okay, you can write this book and have your weirdo indie friends illustrate all the individual issues of it. So he got like me, Matt Wagner, Mike Allred, Ted McKeever, Sienkiewicz, you know, like, so the list goes on. And then Axel Alonso started hitting me up, and I started doing some Spider-Man fill-ins here and there at Marvel. So from that point on, I sort of always ping-ponged back and forth between indie, mainstream, high-end illustration gigs that like usually pay more money than comics.
Yeah, for sure.
And dude, that's how it is to this day. Like I just finished a new, another loading screen for the Fortnite video game. I've done like 8 or 9 for them now over the last 3 years. And this goes without saying, but like video game money is like
video game money is different.
Better than comic book money.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm lucky where I get people hiring me for my style to be me. If it fits in something perfectly, like Fortnite, for example, you know, that world is so wacky and bizarre that I love drawing those characters, and those art directors know that I can do that material, and they just let me.
You can speak the language.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, it sounds like even though you have, you know, been in the mainstream sector from time to time, like your heart lies in the indie scene. Like that's where most your passion comes from, and your origin, where your origin resides. So I asked Sam this because I'm newer to the indie and underground comic scene, and it's really cool. Like Sam had me do a pinup for his new Kickstarter and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is cool, man. Like I love it. It takes me back to those days of just being a kid and creating our own stuff and everything, and not having this huge like amount of pressure on yourself, just like creating to have fun. So I asked Sam this, and I'll ask you, like, to you, what makes the indie / underground scene special, and what makes it stand apart from mainstream? Like, what is it that you love about it so much?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the actual producing of the work, like I do my best work when I'm just completely left alone and don't have to answer to anyone or even turn in ideas or get notes from an editor. Like I'm not opposed to working with an editor, and I have to work with art directors when I do these big illustration gigs like Fortnite. Like they want to see sketches. They want to talk about the direction and the composition. And so, you know, you as a freelancer, you have to, I feel like, do both and be open-minded to work with people and make a client happy. But at the end of the day, man, the indie scene for me, the draw is, this is the world where I don't have to answer to anyone. I can just do whatever I want, the weirdest, most bugged out stuff. And it seems like, and especially with these last 2 Kickstarters I've done, it seems like the more unhinged I get to be, the more my fans respond to the work in a positive way.
Yeah.
And it seems like the timing of it is working better every year where, okay, let me just be me, and then let's roll the dice and see if people respond. And they are responding.
Yeah.
So I just feel like I'm getting very lucky. And I'm even doing some freelance cover work for people right now where I haven't been doing sketches for them, and I just turn in the finished covers. Like I've been doing stuff for Vault on Post Malone's Big Rig series.
Nice.
And they didn't ask me for sketches from the get-go. So I sort of was like, let me just roll the dice here and just turn in what I want to do, just the finished cover, colored and everything, and just see what they say. And they loved it enough that they were like, okay, dude, we know that you just want to be left alone. Like, whatever, just do the covers. Like, we can't be like super crazy, no nudity, like,
right.
but like, do your thing. But the editors there, shout out to my boy Adrian, but the editors there were smart enough to be like, we get it. You want to be on your own. Okay. Just turn it on time and give us the most like badass shit you can give us. So I have a great relationship with them where I'm getting away with my indie, like philosophy.
Yes.
But doing it for other companies but dude, with Marvel and stuff, it's like, no, they want sketches. You know?
To give us a few thumbnails. We'll approve the one we like. Yeah. Well, with the indie stuff, it sounds like you're getting to be genuinely yourself, and you're having fun in the creative process. And I can't help but think that comes through, that comes across in the work.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. And when I look at people's indie work, for me, it's more of you're getting to see more of the creator and who they are and what their tastes are, and so you're getting like unfiltered, visionary work from individuals. And this goes back to like Crumb and the Underground guys, Spain Rodriguez, the Hernandez brothers, even the original Mirage Ninja Turtles, Eastman and Laird books. It's like, these are just individual people making these books themselves from scratch. Like there's no committee involved. So you're getting this beautiful, unfiltered way of a creator expressing themselves in the storytelling medium of comics, where it also, man, shows to the world and to aspiring storytellers, if you want to make film, but you're worried about having a crew, if you want to make music, but you're worried about having a band and people flaking out on you, comics is one of the storytelling mediums where you can literally just do all of this on your own.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. It's a shitload of work, but you can make a comic book from scratch as one sole individual person. And I love that part of it, man. That process of like, this is all on me, man. This is all my world.
That's really cool. Is there so now, as fun as the indie stuff is and how much freedom there is in it, is there any big mainstream project that if you had the opportunity, like if you got dangled a Spider-Man book or a Batman book or something for Marvel or DC, is that something that you'd be interested in, or would you want to, I mean, would you want to write it? Would you want to have that level of control over it, or is that something you could be happy doing, working with somebody else with a little more creative restriction on you, I guess? Would it depend on how much they were turning the screws to you? It's got to be this way, or just do what you want,
It depends. It like when I worked with Brian Bendis, he knew how to write for me, and so yes, I mean, I definitely would do a project like that for Marvel or DC. The parody books I've done are because I love these characters. It's not me. I don't think it's me making fun of the characters. Like, I've been a Batman and Spider-Man fanatic since I was a little kid. So this is kind of my homage or love letter to that. And the direction that like DC's going at this point, man, I feel like, why don't they just give me an absolute Batman?
I feel like they should, dude. Like, I mean, the way out was that annual that just came out.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, I was
totally.
like, I just picked up that annual on Wednesday and was reading it last night. And Daniel Warren and James Herron are homies of mine. I love their work. But dude, if that book was in black and white, it would basically be an indie comic book.
Would.
I mean, they're
100%.
reaching the level of creator first mentality of like, okay, now there's more room in the sandbox to play with this stuff. And I'll be curious to see if Marvel does a version of that.
I've been waiting for them to do their version of this style of comics that obviously people are craving, because I mean, look at all the success that Absolute Batman is having. Like it's clearly the fans are showing you like, hey, we love this stuff and we want more of it. So yeah, I've kind of been sitting back waiting to see what their response is going to be, like their version of this. Yeah.
It's funny, man. After New York Comic-Con, I did get hit up by a buddy of mine who works at Marvel to do a small amount of interiors for a project that I can't announce yet. But it was sort of like the first time Marvel's offered me interiors in a really long time. And this editor, Danny, he's given me some cover work in the past on Spider-Punk and Iron Man recently. So he's a fan of my work. But for me, it's kind of like, okay, Danny, I'll do these interiors, but after this, like, we need to talk about, just give me a Ghost Rider miniseries. Give me Spider-Man. Give me like a 4-issue.
Yeah, we've done the 2 for you. Now we need to do the 1 for me.
Right.
Yeah, so you'd be amazing on a Ghost Rider book. There's several books you'd be great on, but I could see on a Ghost Rider book for sure.
It would be really fun. It's weird because I'm still such a huge fan of comic books in general, but it's odd that in comics, one thing I always wrestle with is like, it's weird that the measure of success is still Marvel and DC. It's sort of been like that since the beginning of the industry. And that's the only drawback to me of being more of an indie guy. Is it's like the mark of success or recognition is still like, well, have you done anything for Marvel or DC? You got to do something for the big 2. And, and for me, I'm like, but Eastman and Laird never did anything for the big 2. And to me, they're like two of the biggest winners of all time in the history of comic books. What they created.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about, because I'm discovering a lot of this anew, the Savage Street Vigilante book, which I'm excited because I back the tier of Arachnid Enforcer, where I'm also going to get the Savage Street Vigilante. And so I wanted to ask you, you said, it's parody. And whenever money gets involved, that's when it gets a little sketchy with, like, have you received any cease and desist letters or anything? Or is it enough parody where you haven't felt that pressure from...
No one said anything.
Because you said it's kind of like, seems like it's kind of being supported right now.
Yeah, like no one has said anything. And also, I know so many people in the industry at different levels that before I launched the Kickstarter for Street Vigilante, I started sending pages out to people, not necessarily at DC, but like friends, like big high ranking people in comics that I'm like, do you think this is just going to be instant trouble? And everyone was like, I think that because you're doing it on Kickstarter and it's so obviously a parody that the companies, knock on wood, dude, the companies seem to be looking the other way right now. And also I feel like because Warner Brothers makes like $1 billion a year off of Batman as an IP, my little Kickstarter one-shot comic that I put out is not in any way a threat to them.
Yeah, not a threat whatsoever. Yeah, that makes sense. For the listeners or the viewers who aren't familiar, give the breakdown about Savage Street Vigilante.
Yeah.
Because we know it's obviously a Batman parody.
Yeah.
But take me through this. I have to know, like,
yeah,
because it's such a great parody, like such a great idea.
yeah. I'll say this though too, because when I describe it, people are going to be like, "That kind of sounds like Absolute Batman." I was coming up with this.
This was before,
right before they announced Absolute Batman.
Yep.
But my character is like this crazed street brawler vigilante who's been doing this job for a couple decades, and his brain gets injected by his archenemy with venom that makes him go crazy. So he just snaps and finally decides to take out his entire rogues gallery of villains.
So he doesn't have the don't kill rule.
Right. And so it's his final mission. It's his final story of like, the book, if it's not obvious, it pays homage to like 80s VHS, B-movie, grindhouse vigilante stuff like Charles Bronson and the Death Wish movies.
Oh, there you go.
And it's very grimy. It's very violent. There's, gore, sex, and violence. The Arachnid Enforcer book is a much like lighter book because I feel like Spidey's a lighter character.
Spidey is much lighter, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make the books reflect the original source material a bit, but it's like Street Vigilante's like, what if Dark Knight Returns went like really wrong? Like, what if it went real off the rails?
Yeah.
Like, what's that story? What's this guy's actual final story? And I don't want to spoil the ending, but I think it has.
Yeah, don't spoil it because I haven't got it yet. I probably already know too much, but I don't want the ending spoiled for anybody that's listening. Because my hope is that people hear this and discover this for the first time too, and get into this indie world and supporting your projects. So that's one of the nice things about being somebody who just discovered something. Now I get to go back and check all this cool stuff out that you've done.
Oh yeah. And I think that's the thing too, is like always keep your back catalog of stuff available to people, because there's always new fans. There's always new people following on social media and even with Arachnid Enforcer, like we're keeping the late pledge option going on the Kickstarter.
Perfect.
Through probably December, because we can't do the fulfillment until early next year anyway.
Yeah.
So I did that with Street Vigilante, and it worked out where your Kickstarter ends, but it sort of doesn't really end. It ends in the sense that you're not aggressively promoting for 30 days straight to the point of like you're annoying everyone around you, and your fans are like, yeah, we get it. We're tired of hearing about this project.
Yeah.
That's the fine line too, man, with promoting is like, how much is too much?
Yeah, that's got to be a little tightrope to walk on. Well, since people can still do a late pledge option by the time they're listening to this, why don't you give the little elevator pitch on Arachnid Enforcer?
Yes. Arachnid is about what if everyone's favorite wall crawler did not learn the great power, great responsibility philosophy, and he was kind of a selfish dickhead who used his power just for financial gain. So him and his little Muppet manager sidekick, Gangster Boogie, they get paid.
By the way, not to interrupt, but who, by the way, is becoming the standout star. Like before this has even come out, like Gangster Boogie is all everybody's talking about now.
Yeah. Dude, that was a complete surprise to me, which is the most fun thing that came out of the campaign was
totally
this joke. It was just a joke. I was like, I'll just make his sidekick like this Muppet guy. Like, and then people started responding to that, and now he has almost more of a bigger following than Arachnid.
That's so
the
funny.
Main character. But so now I'm kind of like, I need to spin off Gangster Boogie into his own thing. I can already
see what the wheels are turning.
Down the road. But so Gangster and Arachnid, they get paid by bad guys to take out other bad guys.
Okay.
To take out the competition. So they're sort of helping things out by taking out bad guys, but it's all just for their own financial gain. So the townspeople of this Halloween town are sort of against them and consider Arachnid a menace. Yeah. So something happens to where our hero has to learn, like, is he going to change? Is he actually going to learn and embrace to be a hero?
Yeah.
And that's kind of, without revealing too much, that's kind of the twist of the story, is like, is this guy going to get his shit together and actually learn to be a good guy? And I think people will be pleasantly surprised by it and really entertained by it. And like I said, it's much more jokey, lighter book compared to Street Vigilante. There's still violence and there's still kind of a Halloween dark imagery, kind of spooky vibes to it, but it's a more playful world.
And I'm assuming there's a Mary Jane analog somewhere in this story as well, right?
Yeah. Melody Jade.
There you go.
Is a hot goth, like, witchy girl.
Perfect.
Who is the daughter of the main bad guy in the book.
Okay.
And of course, Arachnid Enforcer immediately falls in love with her when he sees her.
Of course.
And she doesn't want anything to do with him, but they wind up having to be forced to, like, team up to go on a mission together.
I love it.
And I'll kind of leave it at that. But yeah, I have this nice dynamic of, like, Arachnid, Gangster Boogie, the girl, the main bad guy, all kind of playing off each other throughout the story. And the thing is that's cool, man, with these one and dones is you just have 48 pages to tell, like, a cool, quick story with some character arcs in it, some surprises, hopefully, some scenes of action, some comedy moments, some character moments. But I love the idea of, like, you don't have to know the lore. You don't have to know anything. These are just one and done comic books that you can pick up. That's how I collected comics when I was a kid. Like, like I said, I'd go to the newsstand.
Yes.
And if they didn't have Amazing Spider-Man, I would pick up Web of Spider-Man, but I didn't really have the previous issue. But at the time, the books they were just one and done. It's like, Spidey in this one fights the Vulture.
Yeah, there wasn't arcs. There wasn't these arcs that went through 5 different titles and you had to pick up each one to know what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were self-contained. And it was really special. Like, you just never knew what you were going to get on any given week when you went there, you know?
Yeah. Always a surprise.
I missed that a little bit.
Yeah.
Now we know about stuff, like, far in advance too. It's like, you know what's coming out and what to be expecting. Like, back in the day, you just show up, like, before all the solicitations and Diamond and everything else. And like, whoa, what's this? Like, I didn't know this was my favorite artist is doing this book. Like, yeah. It's still fun if you can to go to the comic shop blind, like, without knowing what's coming out, and just to stroll. I try and go, like, once every 2 weeks just to see, like, what's on the shelves. But I did go specifically on Wednesday to get the Batman, the absolute Batman. I have to go. Annual. I bought it digitally. I bought it digitally so I could read it right away, but I have a few copies waiting at the shop I'm going to go pick up after this. So I've got some of the variant covers and everything. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Jim, I know you have a hard out, so I don't want to keep you much longer. Many people might know you from the Inkpulp podcast as well, with Eric and Sean and Mateo and everybody. I've been joking. I'm collecting all the Inkpulp guys. I've had Eric on. Sean's coming on. Yeah, Sean's coming on next month. Mateo, I just talked to him. He's going to be coming on. I've got you. How do you get involved with the Inkpulp crew? We'll end on this note and let everybody know where they can catch you on there and where to follow you on all your socials. Oh, sure. Yeah, I met Eric Canetti years ago when I was living in Los Angeles because he was living out there and we would occasionally run into each other at Drink and Draw. So nice. Dave Johnson and Dan Panosian and Jeff Johnson hosted the LA Drink and Draw.
so I knew Eric just casually through that, and then I met Sean and Mateo together because they're always together at conventions, like as a dynamic duo. And they were like the other bearded guys. I was like,
Yes.
oh, I know those guys. And then eventually Sean, like, is such a warm guy. Sean started inviting me to like dinners at conventions. And then in 2020, when everyone was locked down, Sean went from doing the Inkpulp podcast from an audio only podcast to video.
Yeah.
And then we all started doing video jam sessions where we would hang out and ink and draw together. And he was posting those on his YouTube page. And then, you know, just in the last year or two, he kind of flipped it and just reformatted everything and brought in this great editor producer, our boy Jazzy Jamie Wood.
Yeah,
is
Jamie's
editing
awesome.
and producing the show, making all the clips you see online. And that really elevated the professionalism of everything. And then, so there's the Inkpulp podcast, the interview show. And then Sean had the idea over a year ago of him and I doing a separate show called Inkpulp Live. And that's the one we do every 2 weeks roughly on Wednesday nights. And that's a live stream. And that's us hanging out, drawing, and having incredible guests on, man. Like we just had Humberto Ramos on.
I saw that. We had that one. Amazing.
We had Art Adams on like
I saw that
a month
one
ago.
Too. Yep.
So that's our show where we get down, have fun, draw live for 2 hours, and try to bring on other professionals to jam with us. But that podcast stuff and YouTube stuff, it does bring you like a whole new audience of people.
For sure.
It works. It's nice. And we have a whole, Sean will tell you more about this, but we have a whole community from all this now. There's an Inkpulp Patreon and an Inkpulp Discord. And the Discord is super active, man, with young and older indie cartoonists and people posting art and all sorts of crazy stuff that is, it's its own thing now. Like it's beyond
awesome.
What we started. It's its own ecosystem, dude. It's really cool to see.
Well, and watching you guys draw on there together, it takes me back to the old studio days. Like a lot of people don't realize like that was the thing. Like if you want to talk about Wildstorm, Top Cow, any of those, like they were all there together drawing in the same space.
Right.
This is the modern version of that. So it's cool to get to see. And I know it's cool for you guys because art is such a solitary thing. So being able to get on there and chat and be inspired by each other's work has to be fun as well.
Yeah. And this is such a specific trade that it's cool to have a format where we can show off how we're doing what we're doing, show off the tools we're using. People are in the chat asking specific questions. And so it just makes it more interactive of like, well, if you guys can learn from us, if we can help you in some way, maybe everyone starts making more work. And then that inspires us to keep making our work. And so it's just this cycle of people making cool stuff. And really, indie comics has always been that from the beginning. It's like, this is a community that relies on everyone sort of looking out for each other.
100%.
So
awesome, brother. Well, I can't think of a better spot to jump off here. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you on social media, if you have a website, where they can back do the late backing on Arachnid Enforcer, all that pertinent info. Why don't you let everybody know?
Oh, sure. Yeah. If you guys Google Arachnid Enforcer, it will take you to the Kickstarter. The late pledge goes probably until end of December. You can find me at Jim Mahfood on Instagram and all other social media. It's very easy. I just have everything under my name.
Keep it simple,
and then my website is also jimmahfood.com, and you can order prints and back catalog of books and stuff like that as well. But yeah, man, James, this was a blast. Thanks for having me.
Man, I had a wonderful time, brother. I hope to have you back on in the future. Congratulations again on the success of the Kickstarter. I am for sure looking forward to the Gangster Boogie one shot that may or not be percolating in your brain. Hang out with me for a moment while I give everybody my spiel. Everybody, thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoy the podcast and want to give a little extra support, you can always like, subscribe, share. All of that is free. The podcast now has a Patreon because I'm following the lead of all these other awesome people. Patreon.com/Nerdy Mewzings. In the meantime, everybody, happy Halloween and keep it nerdy.
Yes.